The New Jersey Devils took down the defending Stanley Cup champs in their backyard Tuesday night. So let's talk Devs hockey. And, of course, we got to show some love to Jack Hughes for that impressive milestone that he just reached. So let's bring in Trey Matthews of the Locked On Devils podcast. Trey, huge win last night. You were in the arena. What was the vibes like? A lot of Devils fans down there?
It was kind of hard to tell because everyone was wearing red, but the atmosphere was excellent. I can't deny it. And considering the fact that it's not a weekend game, I'd say the fan bases for both respective teams really showed up at Amaranth Bank Arena.
Okay. It's like that TikTok when they're like, oh, suspect wearing red. Like everyone's wearing red. I don't know if anyone saw that or not. But all right, let's get done with the dad jokes here. Thoughts on the win, man? Go in.
Well, this was a Panthers team that was coming in with a 7-game winning streak. They're atop of the Atlantic Division. This is going to be a challenge for New Jersey. Yes, you got this win, but you still got a few more hurdles to climb. You got to play the Panthers again on Thursday, and then you got to play the Tampa Bay Lightning on Saturday. The Devils are heading in the right direction, and after their disappointing loss to the San Jose Sharks, I think they really did redeem themselves. Having spoken to a few players in the locker room post-game, they consider this a very big win, and I think it's a good statement victory for them.
Well, speaking of statements, Jacob Markstrom came up big for the squad last night, 34 saves and 35 shots against. But Paul Cotter says that Brendan Dillon's throwing hands is what sparked that squad. Remember the last time we talked about a fight, Nathan Bastian's jaw got rocked. So do you think Dillon's fight was what kind of got the Devs going in this game?
Yeah, he went toe-to-toe with Jonah Gadjevich, and that was a very entertaining fight. Both players were throwing some haymakers, and at one point, Dillon flipped the jersey over Gadjevich's head, and it seemed like Gadjevich was just basically a headless chicken out there. But yet he was still laying some big hits, and unfortunately Dillon was the first one to go down, and that did put the crowd into a lather. But this is what Brendan Dillon does. He's an energizer, and that's exactly what the Devils needed, because they had sacrificed a power play goal to Sam Reinhart after killing off 20 straight penalties. You were afraid that the Panthers might answer on back. You need to find a way to make sure that the momentum doesn't shift back into the favor of the Panthers, because they did not make it easy on New Jersey. They came out the gates buzzing, and Jacob Markstrom had to be on his A game, and kudos to Dillon for just trying to energize his team.
Well, it definitely worked, man. They definitely got them sparked, and they got going from there. I want to talk and get your thoughts on a milestone that was reached. Jack Hughes earned his 300th NHL point, and Sheldon Keefe showed Luke Hughes some love after the game. So, one, talk about Jack's milestone, and what do the Hughes brothers mean to this team this year?
Well, talking first about Luke Hughes, I was actually the one who asked Sheldon Keefe about Luke Hughes' defensive effort. The points aren't really there for Luke compared to last season, but honestly, he's been one of the Devils' best defensive-minded defensemen. And I never thought I would say that entering this season, but he's been very impressive. And now going to his older brother, Jack is starting to come into fruition. He now has 7 points in his last 4 games, 4 goals, 3 assists. This is the Jack Hughes that I saw last year when healthy, and it seems like he's gaining a lot more confidence, because I think he was a little hesitant coming off of shoulder surgery, trying to ease back into it. He only appeared in 1 preseason game, but now it seems like he's starting to get his legs underneath him. I've been very impressed with Jack Hughes during these last few games, and at one point, he had back-to-back 3-point outings, first against the Canadiens, and then he led the way for the Devils to overcome the 3-1 deficit to the Islanders late.
All right, they're going to run it back against the Panthers on Thursday night. So do you feel like the Devs can take both games, and why or why not? What's your keys to the game?
I think they certainly can, but I think the big thing for them is that you got to make sure you slow down the Panthers early, because you don't want them to be buzzing. You don't want them to put pressure on your netminder. I think that's going to be very vital for New Jersey because the Panthers are the reigning Stanley Cup champions. They've been to 2 straight Stanley Cup finals. But I think my important key to the game is just make sure you come out the gate strong as well, because if you lay down for even a second, the Panthers will make it pay more ways than one, and keep the energy strong, similar to what Brendan Dillon did. Find a way to get under your opponent's skin, ruffle up some feathers, because a lot of people are underestimating the Devils. They're not the best team, but I think they're far, far from worse. So I think that's just the key, which is make sure that the energy doesn't shift over into the Panthers' favor, and you got to come strong from the opening faceoff.
All right, let's have some fun with this one. I'm just being silly. They had energy because Paul Cotter, a.k.a. DJ Pauly C, was on the 1s and 2s before the game. So whose album would you buy if they both had one out? DJ Pauly C or Mets infielder Jose Iglesias with his OMG hit?
There's no comparison, at least for me. Jose Iglesias is OMG. I've actually listened to that song many times. I think it's on my Spotify on repeat. It's a really good song. And this is coming from someone who's not a New York Mets fan. I got to give Iglesias his flowers in that sort of way. I think Paul Cotter, his pregame ritual of doing the DJ thing, I think it's silly, but until I see some actual music from Paul Cotter, I got to give it to Jose Iglesias, the actual pop star. And I think Iglesias and Pitbull actually have a collab in the works for a remix of that song OMG. So until Paul Cotter teams up with Pitbull or DJ Khaled, I don't really know, then I'm going to have to give it to Iglesias.
I was going to start small with like DJ Pauly D, DJ Pauly C, DJ Pauly D. We maybe do something with that. There's a word play there. But again, stop with the dad jokes, B. London. Trey, tell the people they can find you, man.
You can find Locked On Devils wherever you get your podcast from. Also available on YouTube. View some of my written work for Pucks and Pitchforks, which is on Fansided. You can follow me on X at TreyMatt4 and the show's X page up at Locked On Devils. That's where you can find me.
All right, man. Thanks for jumping on with us.
Thank you so much, Brandon.